What's something you regret?
Well, I don't know if I have any regrets. Everything was supposed to happen. I'm not afraid to fail. And if something bad happens in my life, it's just like, hey, I like learning from every failure, mistakes. Can't say I have any regrets.
What then is the best decision that you've made in life?
The best decision is definitely moving to Dallas. I got to meet a lot of cool people. I got to explore Dallas. I feel like I'm part of Dallas. I've gotten to see a lot of cool things in Dallas. Both jobs are fun for me. I really enjoy both jobs. Like, even if like the church one is repetitive, they're so chill. They're so laid back. Like, they don't really care about what time I come in, if I leave early. Financially, this is where like it's been great for me. I've been able to invest, in stocks. I bought my old parents' house in New Mexico. I rent that out. I like being able to pay for my friends' stuff. Like when we're out and about, like, hey, it's on me. Okay, we're going to a concert. Let's get better seats, man.
Mhm.
I don't want to sit in the back. This is gonna be an experience. You know what I mean? So yeah, Dallas has been great to me. Definitely having money, and money has been great to me because it's like just such a stress reliever. You get to go eat whatever you want. You get to travel. I love Dallas, and I can see myself being here for the rest of my life.
I like the positive mindset. No regrets, but also having a go-to best decision ever made. Are you doing anything towards self-improvement?
Working out, I have been slacking because I went to Mexico City. It was hard to work out over there. Like, I mean, there's no excuses, but I do like having like my weights in my gym. I need to get back on it, but I try to balance it out. I don't want to be too strict on myself, but I do like working out. I like going on walks. I love listening to podcasts while I walk. But yeah, working out, eating healthy, balancing out my meals, but also not being too strict where I'm not enjoying a pizza here and there. That's like my favorite food. I have made slight alternative choices, especially as you get older, right? But yeah, working out. I really enjoy working out. I try to still look young, presentable. I like getting my weekly haircuts. I like doing my little face creams, sunblock, eating my salads, like all that. Because if I'm slacking, I don't want to do anything. You know what I mean? If you eat bad, you're getting fat. You're just like miserable. It also alters your mind. I believe that for sure. Like if you're eating junk food all the time, and you just feel sluggish, depression, sad. So yeah. Working out, eating better.
Last three questions. What's your favorite movie?
I got three. I do have a thought of like, are those my favorite movies? Or is it I was forced to like these movies because we didn't have much back then? You know what I mean?
What are they?
Dumb and Dumber. It's overplayed now. It's such a good movie, but it's also overplayed.
I never liked Dumb and Dumber, but
yeah, I thought it was hilarious. Like right now, it's a little corny. There's a lot of things that I used to love. Now that I'm grown up, I'm like, why? But it's still my favorites for some reason.
Okay.
It's just nostalgia or just like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Three Amigos, another comedy. I love comedy. I express most of my thoughts and feelings through humor. And then my third one would be Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump
two
is a good movie.
comedies,
I like that one.
and then Forrest Gump. There's been great movies after that, but these are the movies I've seen. So they have a lot of replay value.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I mean, there are good movies, but they also fell in my life when we didn't have much. You were forced. Like if you rented that movie, I'm like, well, I have 3 days with this. Let me watch it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You were forced to watch shit over and over back then. And they just became part of your life. Like now you have so many options, with streaming sites. I'm like, all right, I don't want to watch this. I'll go to the next. But back then, so I don't know if those are actually my favorite movies or they just happen to be my favorite movies, if that makes sense.
What's your favorite album?
Biggie's Life After Death. Love that album. Big Biggie fan. It sucks that he has a small catalog.
Yeah.
Because then you just play this music so much, after a while, you're like, I don't want to hear Hypnotize. You know what I mean? But I love that album. I love Biggie. That's one of like my favorite albums growing up. I do remember every Tuesday going to Sam Goody or Hastings to like look for new hip hop albums. But that's definitely one that's stood by. I haven't played it in a while because I got tired of it. You just could only hear it so much. But I would say that's my favorite. And my most recent one, which I know Larry is going to disagree, is Eminem, Music to Be Murdered By.
Yeah.
See, he's biased. He doesn't know his Mexican rappers and he hates white rappers. I know.
I love Eminem. We bonded through our mutual love of Eminem, but there came a point in his career where I don't think he any longer had a good ear for beats and for flows, and he just went too hard and obsessed over technique, and it just became too corny for me after that.
Have you heard Music to Be Murdered by?
Yeah, that came out like
Yeah,
2016.
and a little bit closer. No, he had better beat choices on that, and Eminem and Biggie are like two of my favorite. Watch,
Yeah.
hold on, right? I know earlier I was criticizing people for having like flags and shit, but these are two things I bought because I think it's funny.
Is that the reason why the Christian woman you were dating cut it off?
Because it's sacrilegious or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
It's hilarious.
It is. Maybe not.
So Biggie and Eminem are like my favorite. These guys, I don't know why they made such an impact. And
no, they're top 5 easily in anyone's list of greatest rappers ever. But I do think as rappers lose touch with what's cool and what's vibrant, they tend to just double down on whatever made them famous and whatever sort of differentiated them when they first came out. And I think for Eminem, it was just technique and wordplay, and it's not something that at his age I want to listen to.
No, I get it. I mean, there's a lot of corny Eminem songs, and I definitely agree with you with the beat choices. I'm just like, ugh, this is so. I don't want to hear this again, but I enjoy listening to his word rhyme pattern. But the beats are horrible, and I think that's why I like Music to Be Murdered by, because it felt more hip hop. So I love that album. And then I'm just so biased for Eminem that I root for him. The new album, it was cool. I liked it. It was fun. I like that he's still performing. I always think about like Biggie, Tupac, if they're still around. Like if Eminem died a long time ago, it would have been like, damn, that white boy, where would he be at now? But now we know where he's at. Yeah. Where would Tupac or Biggie be? Like for having that career that long, people lose.
That's funny because I think about that as well. And I think it's just a matter of, at the risk of repeating myself, it's the same thing that I was saying about Eminem. There's an age where you're no longer attuned to the genre and to what's really, capturing the zeitgeist. And so people just sort of ignore you. I look at Nas too and Jay-Z, and they had really good runs as well. And then they kind of also became corny, and it was just like, all right, like,
no, yeah,
I don't want to listen to Pink's Disease. And I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. No, I get it. I still get excited though. When Eminem dropped this last one, his concept, I'm like, yeah. I remember when I first saw him in concert, it was by accident. It was in El Paso, Texas, where the radio stations will bring all these random artists, perform like 3 songs. And I saw Eminem. I didn't know who he was. And then he performed like 2 songs that I had no idea. And then he performed this single, My Name Is. I was like, oh, that's that dude Dre sign. And so it's crazy to see that. But I just have this connection with this person for some reason. I just always root for him. But I also understand what you're saying. There's only so much things they could rap about. I still love his double entendres and his word prep. Like he still goes in. That's just so funny. Like these are some of the conversations Larry and I have had for years.
Yes.
Since we first met. It's funny that we're coming back to like still being on the same agree to disagree. But I understand what you're saying.
No, and it's funny because you love Biggie, and it's like, I mean, the greatness of Biggie is just the flows, man. Like on the beat, just no one else to me has ever flowed as well as he has on those 2 albums.
Some of those, but some of those songs are like, and I love how ugly he was.
Yeah,
but he was still so confident and smooth, ugly as ever. However, man. But anyways, so we could talk about hip hop all day. Still my favorite genre. I play a lot of old school. I'm not really into the new school, but I'll give it a chance. I'll listen to a lot of Latin music, reggaeton, anything related to Spanish. It just sounds good, feels good.
And last one, which is, what's your favorite book?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
I know you like to read. I do admire I see your books back there. I do admire about that. I am jealous about people that read. Like I said, my attention span, if I do read a book, which I haven't made an effort to, it would have to be a digital one.
Audiobook?
Where it reads back to me. It also highlights the text. I have done that. I have retained more. But I've never get excited to read a book.
And this isn't to say that you need to pick one, But when you were in high school or even middle school, was there any book that you were required to read that you really enjoyed, or you're like, nah, man, none of this trash?
You know what's, I mean, not that they're trash. What's crazy is like I like being around books. Like walking into Barnes and Nobles is like,
You worked it, yeah.
I used to work there. I love walking into libraries. Like it just feels there's this energy of like,
Hmm.
but I really don't care to spend my time sitting there reading a book. I wish I did. I see people doing it. I'm like, man, how nice is that? Just focusing in your own little world. But I just that's just not me. I'd rather listen to a podcast or an audiobook. I'll
Yeah.
listen to an audiobook. I like going on my walks and just putting on my headphones, and audiobooks I could do. More inclined to do it, but I still don't make an effort. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to more podcasts than I do music now.
I only listen to podcasts. If I'm kind of like, damn, I haven't listened to music in, let's say, 2 months or 3 months, I'll, like you, I'll just play like old school Biggie, or, just random album that I haven't heard in a while. Like I played Kanye West White Dress the other day, just
Oh
randomly
yeah,
popped in my head. And I was like, I haven't heard that song in a while. And I loved it. And I just played it.
I do. I listen to. I'm like you. I listen to old school stuff. I do love the algorithms that these streaming sites. So then it like starts playing other songs like them or whatever that
Yeah.
genre, and I'm like, oh shit, forgot about that hit. I do love algorithm. I love technology. I know it could go in a bad place, but I do love that it brings you back to these other stuff that you may have been forgetting. But yeah, books. I'm sorry, man. I know you like reading.
Second question that wasn't answered. So you have the record on the podcast.
What?
The record for unanswered questions. No regrets. No favorite.
Hell yeah.
And there you go. Now, I'm probably gonna edit that part out because I don't want this to become competitive with guests.
No,
Where they're
make
like,
it.
oh,
No.
let me not answer three, so I could be, the.
Number one. Number one.
No, yeah, exactly.
Who else have
Well,
you? Anybody I know that's been on here?
no,
And then you've also like stopped doing social media. That's mostly
um,
where I see these people's lives. I don't talk to them, but I
yeah,
do feel like I'm keeping up with their lives through social media, which is
yeah.
one of the pros and cons of like having it, right?
Sometimes I do miss that part because I haven't kept up with people that I loved and that I appreciated having in my life. But I think the cons started outweighing heavily the benefits, and so I had to get rid of it. So no social media, no fantasy sports, no hip hop like I used to. Just sometimes streaming for nostalgic purposes.
Proud of
I'm,
you, man.
I'm boring
Family
now.
man.
Exactly.
You think you're boring?
Yeah. Even
Really?
when I was fun, I was a little boring. Wouldn't you agree? When we used to hang out, a little.
I enjoyed hanging out with you though.
Yeah,
I didn't think you were boring. I wouldn't hang
yeah.
out with you if you were boring.
That's a good point.
You thought you were boring?
Maybe I'm underselling my
Nah, we had good stuff.
super
we
good
can't talk
times.
about.
Super good times. Well,
For,
amigo, it was great having you in the podcast. Great
thanks for
conversation.
inviting me. I don't know how this is going to reflect. I haven't done a podcast in a while. I've always wanted to do a podcast, but I get scared that I'll say things that I regret. I think it went pretty well.
I think you should. I support you. You seem pretty savvy when it comes to technology and digital media. So, you probably know how to do all of these things. But if you need a guest, I'm always open as well. So
You have repeated guests?
yes, of course. I mean, yeah. Part two. Yeah. And I was gonna say I appreciate the fact that we were able to see each other. We talked last year a little bit and got back in touch. But we hadn't been in on video, and maybe even next time we see each other it will be in either Dallas or Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah. You were supposed to come for a wedding.
And
COVID
then
happened.
yeah, exactly. And then everything warped.
All right, amigo.
Deuces.
Invite
It was
me.
great seeing you. Keep in touch. Send me some random texts, just saying hi, or random pictures of the cats. I always enjoy keeping in touch with you and maintaining this friendship.
Likewise.
Yeah,
It was great to hear from you. Great to see you. Peace.